Have you ever noticed how some of the loneliest people are the ones who never seem to be alone? You're surrounded by people. Your phone keeps buzzing, your group chat is active, and you have people to laugh with every single day. So why do you still feel completely empty the moment you climb into bed? Most people think loneliness only happens when you don't have friends. But psychology says that is one of the biggest misconceptions about human connection. Because your brain doesn't measure friendship by how many people are around you. It measures something much deeper. And once you understand what that is, you'll realize why some of the loneliest people are the ones who never seem to be alone. Have you ever gone out with your friends, laughed the entire night, taken pictures together, said goodbye, then climbed into bed and suddenly felt empty? Nothing bad happened. Nobody was rude. Nobody excluded you. Yet, something still felt missing. It's a strange feeling because it doesn't make sense. You were surrounded by people. So, why did your mind still feel isolated? Many people blame themselves. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. Maybe I expect too much from people. Maybe I should just be grateful I have friends. But psychology offers another explanation. Loneliness isn't simply the absence of people. It's the absence of feeling emotionally understood. Those two things sound similar. They're completely different. Imagine speaking every day with someone who remembers your birthday but never notices when you're struggling. Someone who laughs at your jokes but never asks why you've been quieter lately. Someone who knows your favorite food but has no idea what keeps you awake at night. They're your friend, but are they really seeing you? Our brains don't just crave interaction. They crave recognition. The feeling that someone understands the version of you that isn't always visible. Without that, even constant company can feel emotionally empty. Psychologists often call this perceived responsiveness. It's one of the strongest predictors of feeling emotionally connected. Perceived responsiveness simply means believing another person genuinely understands you, values your feelings, and responds to the real you instead of the version you present. Notice something interesting. It isn't about whether they actually understand you. It's about whether your brain believes they do. That difference changes everything, because two people can have the exact same group of friends. One feels deeply connected. The other feels completely alone. Not because their friendships are different, but because their experiences of those friendships are. Now, here's something your brain quietly does during almost every conversation. It asks one invisible question. Can I safely be myself here? Are these people nice? Are we having fun? But if they saw the parts of me I usually hide, would they still stay? Most of us never answer that question out loud. Instead, we answer it with our behavior. Maybe you avoid talking about your anxiety. Maybe you never mention how lonely you've been feeling. Maybe you change your opinions to match the group. Maybe you become the funny friend, or the quiet friend, or the friend who always listens but never shares. Without realizing it, you slowly replace authenticity with acceptance. Psychologists call this self-concealment. The more important parts of yourself you hide, the less emotionally connected you feel afterward. Think about that for a second. Someone can love the version of you they know, while the real you still feels completely alone. That's because your brain doesn't experience love for the mask as love for yourself. It experiences it as love for the performance. And performances are lonely. This is why some friendships become strangely exhausting. Not because the people are toxic, not because they're fake, but because every interaction quietly feels like work. You carefully choose your words. You filter your personality. You laugh even when you're distracted. You say you're fine because explaining the truth feels complicated. Then you go home wondering why spending time with people somehow made you feel even more disconnected. The conversation wasn't the problem, the distance between who you are and who you felt you had to be. There's another psychological pattern that surprises a lot of people. Your brain doesn't automatically confuse familiarity with closeness. Seeing someone every day, texting constantly, sending memes, sharing reels, none of those guarantee emotional intimacy. They only create familiarity. Think about your coworkers. You may spend 40 hours a week with them. You know their coffee order. You know their schedule. You know what annoys them. But would you call them when your life falls apart? Probably not. That's because information isn't the same as intimacy. Psychologists describe intimacy as the gradual exchange of emotional vulnerability, not facts, feelings. And those are very different things. You can know almost everything about someone's daily life, while knowing almost nothing about who they really are. Your brain knows the difference. That's why frequent interaction can still leave you feeling emotionally hungry. Another reason this happens is something psychologists call the intimacy gap. Simply put, the relationship you experience inside your mind isn't always the same relationship the other person experiences. Maybe you consider someone your closest friend, but they see you as just another member of the group. Or maybe they genuinely care about you, but express it differently than your brain expects. One person feels close through constant conversation. Another feels close through acts of loyalty. Another through physical presence. Another through emotional openness. When those languages don't match, loneliness quietly appears, not because nobody cares, but because care is arriving in a form your brain doesn't naturally recognize. Then there's social media. Ironically, it's made this feeling even more confusing. You see photos of your friends together, people commenting, laughing, tagging each other. From the outside, it looks like everyone belongs somewhere. Meanwhile, you're comparing your private emotions to everyone else's public highlights. Your brain starts making dangerous assumptions. Maybe they're all closer than I am. Maybe nobody thinks about me when I'm not there. Maybe I'm just replaceable. Psychologists call this upward social comparison. We naturally compare ourselves to people who appear happier, more connected, or more successful. The problem is, you're comparing your behind-the-scenes experience to someone else's highlight reel, and your brain treats those comparisons as evidence, not illusion. Perhaps the most surprising discovery is this. The human brain doesn't ask, "How many friends do I have?" It asks, "Where can I completely stop pretending?" That place might exist with one person, or none. That's why someone with hundreds of friends can feel painfully lonely, while someone with just one deeply trusted person can feel completely understood. Because belonging was never about numbers. It was always about emotional safety. The moment your nervous system realizes, "I don't have to perform here," something changes. Your shoulders relax. You stop rehearsing every sentence before saying it. Silence no longer feels awkward. You no longer wonder whether people secretly dislike you. For the first time, connection stops feeling like something you have to earn. It simply feels natural. So, if you've ever wondered why you have friends, yet still feel alone, don't assume you're ungrateful, don't assume you're broken, and don't assume having more friends will automatically solve the feeling. Sometimes what your mind is searching for isn't another conversation, another group chat, or another invitation. Sometimes, it's just one relationship where the version of yourself you've been protecting for years finally feels safe enough to come out. And perhaps that's what loneliness has been trying to tell you all along. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the next one. The psychology of people who intimidate others without knowing it. It explores why some people unintentionally make others feel nervous or distant, and why the reason is much deeper than you might think. Click on it, and I'll see you there.